Okay, so it's almost 2 o'clock here, guys. I see the participants are trickling in. You're all very welcome here to the webinar. Myself, Luke, and Diogo. Myself, and I. Me and Diogo are going to be taking you through this presentation, showing you some videos, and basically having a chat about alignment and strategy and all that good stuff. So we might give it another 2 minutes here, just let people trickle in, because I know that we had perhaps 70 or so respondents. So we'll just give it a couple of minutes there. But how's it going over there, Diogo?
Fine. How are you? Long time.
Long time. Yeah, a few minutes.
A few minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so excited about this one. I know we did one before Christmas. We were supposed to do one every quarter, so we just kind of squeezed this in at the end of the quarter, which is great. So hopefully people enjoy it and take something away from it.
Yeah, and also to a note to everyone, just participate. So it's kind of not a one-way presentation. We will be discussing, both of us, a few topics. But the idea is that if you have questions or challenges or things that you would like to share, use the Q&A option here on the webinar tool, and we will pick your topic and discuss it. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also got a couple of questions at the outset that we got from people who had said that they were going to attend. So we've got those in the back pocket towards the end during the Q&A anyway. So we'll take it from there. But I guess to respect everyone's time, I think we might get going now. And we've got a good few people already in. We're recording this, I believe. Daniela is the marketing professional who set this up. So Daniela, I think we're recording this for the guys.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. Okay, let's kick off here and just introduce the presentation team here. My name is Luke Curry. I'm the partner manager for EMEA for HubSpot for our top tier partners. This is a brand new channel that we've built over the last 2 years or so. It is kind of the future of where we see HubSpot going, working a lot closer with partners like ProvidentCRM to deliver on strategy and system alignment, which is really why we're having this conversation today. Diogo is my co-host. He's the VP of Sales and Marketing for Provident. Diogo, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell the people a little bit about you.
You just did it, Luke. So yeah, so as Luke mentioned, I work here in Provident on sales and marketing, but very specifically with HubSpot. And I think we can throw a few slides ahead, Luke, and we kind of start introducing a bit more important than who I am is who Provident is. So
yeah, absolutely.
This is a bit the agenda where that we're going to cover on this webinar. So the initial topic the initial is the main topic we will basically be discussing is the issue around alignment between strategy and systems. I like to change the order because I prefer strategy first, systems after. We will discuss it. And then we will speak about 3 specific topics that we chose to discuss. So whenever we speak about CRM, and if we are speaking here with Provident and HubSpot, the topic has to be related with CRM. So the 3 main pillars of CRM always focus on marketing, sales, and service. So we will try to bring one challenge for each of these pillars and to kind of explain how strategy and system should be aligned. Okay. Then the last component is a Q&A session. This is where we would like your participation. So if you have questions, feel free to ask us. If there are too many, we try to pick the first ones. If not, we will bring our own questions just to kind of keep the conversation going, okay? So giving a quick intro on who Provident is. So Provident, it's a company that's established since the year 2000. So since basically the early 2000s, Provident professionals have been working always around topics of CRM. So I usually like to call ourselves like a CRM boutique. So we work with different platforms. We don't work just with a HubSpot that gives us a very complementary vision of what are the challenges of the market, what are the solutions offered by the different vendors. And I always mention that this puts us in a very special place, instead of being just a company that would work with one vendor and would have a very focused approach on one single solution, right? So as I said, we work mainly around the CRM space, CRM technologies, and everything we add around these is technologies and services that will need to be implemented in order for our CRM projects to be successful, right? So in terms of our partnership with HubSpot, we started late 2019, and we became already a platinum partner. So it was a quite fast journey in our first year of partnership. Okay,
Absolutely. So, one of the fastest rises I have experienced there. So I've worked with Provident personally, and bringing the company's strategy to life through HubSpot's products has been something that they've done incredibly well. So some of the services that you guys are offering?
Yeah, sorry. So we approach our services in four different categories. So we have a component of consulting, and this is where it ties what we do with actually what we are discussing about, speaking about strategy and then looking at the systems. So our consulting services are very focused on this component of defining strategy, defining processes, and understand what the company's needs are before looking at the technology. Okay, so we do that. We do the implementation, that is basically all these processes and all these strategies that are discussed and that our customers need to put in place in order to face their challenges. It's what we usually call the implementation of these projects. And then we have a component of integration, because as holistic the processes are getting, we more frequently and regularly need information that sits in external systems, and the integration is a way of flowing data between what are the CRM platforms and other third-party systems. Like usually a very common integration scenario would be an ERP system or an invoicing system, where we want to see information about what's being invoiced in our customer profiles. And the last component is the training, because we need to do a project needs to end with a knowledge transfer, not only for the main key users of our customers' platforms, but also for their end users. Okay?
Absolutely.
So now,
cool. So that's what the Provident guys are helping us out with, helping our joint customers out with. A lot of that stuff really kind of talks to the alignment of the strategy anyway. Some like integrations and training and all that type of stuff, like implementing the project was great. From a HubSpot point of view, if this is your kind of first interaction with HubSpot, we started originally as a marketing automation tool, but then we've kind of grown organically. We've built our own systems around our customer strategy. So when we were a marketing automation tool, we noticed that a lot of our customers had to buy a Salesforce or a Sugar CRM or some sort of data depository to manage the sales process after they've generated those leads with HubSpot. So we built the CRM as the base platform of everything that we do. And then we got to a point where our customers were demanding a kind of a 360 view of their customers. So HubSpot provided Service Hub, which is something akin to a Help Scout, a Zendesk, something to manage that long-term view of the customer, and also store all that data in one place. So that's where we are right now. We've gone from a very a company that's doing 200, 300 million in ARR to over $1 billion just at the end of last year. So we've really built up our kind of name in CRM as well. One of the biggest things that we're trying to do here is we're trying to adapt our platform to any possible strategy that our customers might have in a way that's very easy to use, very once it's set up, it should be kind of self-managing, all that type of stuff. And compared to some of our competitors, where they have grown through acquisition, kind of a Frankenstein approach of buying a CRM tool, buying a service tool, buying reporting BI tools, and trying to knit them all together. We've built all of our systems in-house, so there's a very very streamlined approach there. Okay, so let's dig in here before we get into the strategic examples. We're talking about the danger of misalignment here. Me and Diogo were going through this earlier on. We were talking about all three of these areas here and how many examples we've had in our careers of selling software, selling projects around software. And one of the things that stands out for me is that 29% of the employees at companies, I think that the leader's vision is not aligned with the organization's. So that if you flip that, that means that 70% of people think that that is not the case. So it's something that I've been involved in a few times with selling to CEOs who think the company's going one way, and then the actual salespeople see the product, see the service in a completely different way. So something that we need to address with systems like CRM, with marketing, automation.
Not only, and then it's something we should address also from a process point of view. So like that's one thing we notice is when we run this type of discovery sessions, and when we start to look at the problems of our customers from an holistic point of view, is when most of these situations arises. It's when you start to see a leader saying one thing, and then the customer facing people that are actually doing the day-to-day job, they have a completely different vision. So that's where we need to kind of align before we even start speaking about systems.
Why do you think that next stat there, Diogo? Why do you think that in your experience, your 20-year experience of rolling out software at companies, why do you think that 44% of these projects are failing in this way?
There's one thing I love to say on my sales pitches when I'm speaking to customers. That is, I think the software should support the process, and not the process supporting the software. So what I've seen happening with lots of times, with lots of customers and in lots of scenarios, is that the companies or our customers start to look at the softwares from what they do, and they stop thinking of what they need to do. And the problem is when you start looking at the software, and if you would show me whatever software is, and I would look to one killer feature, say, wow, this software can do this. So say, geez, I have to find a way of fitting this into my organization. And I think that's where the problem starts, is people get very excited with a very good technology, and then they stop thinking about what they actually really need to do. And that's why we always say we need to start by thinking, what is the challenge? What is the process that we will use to address those challenges? And then we pick the best of the tools to make those processes more efficient. So that's my I keep repeating this, and I will always keep repeating this.
It's kind of a thin line as well, because I was in a meeting today where we were doing a big RFP for a customer, and they've got a certain strategy that they want to align their systems to, and we're going to do that. But we were, as a team, there was 5 or 6 of us on the call, and we were trying to figure out even a better process for them using our tools, and said, well, they could do it like this, they could do it like that. But if they don't have the buy-in at the top to make that happen, if we set up something that's completely misaligned with that, I think that would be a mistake. And I think that even thinking about this misalignment stuff kind of got me thinking about that pitch that we're going to do later on. So it all kind of ties together. So what do you think is at stake usually if we don't have that alignment?
I think like the misalignment means lack of efficiency, and then that falls all over the place. If we think from of the 3 pillars of an organization, when we speak of marketing, a misalignment between strategy and systems means low efficiency, means low number of leads, like this is like we see things as a funnel, or like I'd like to see this is like marketing feeds sales, and sales feeds operation and service. So if you start messing with one of the components before, it will have a cascade effect. So if we start misaligning and the problem start in the beginning of this cycle, then you could have very good salespeople, or you could have very good operational people, but you don't go anywhere, and so on and so on. You could have the opposite. You could have an extremely, really amazing marketing strategy that is generating you lots of good leads, but then you fail on acting over them, and then you don't do anything, and then the consequences of these are like enormous. Like it's very even hard to name them, because they can show themselves in employee satisfaction and customer retention and profitability and so on. So it's a big
deal.
It's a big topic, and most of the times it's organizations don't give this topic the proper attention, you know.
Okay, perfect. I think there was a question there. Was there someone in the chat? Absolutely great point, Diogo. I like that. Daniela supporting supporting Diogo there. I like it. Okay, cool. Okay, so next, let's actually dig into some of the strategy changes that could have been like applicable to people over the last year or so. And this has been coming up time and time again in my own sales funnel. Loads and loads of companies that had teams that were based in a traditional sales floor have found it difficult to kind of have that strategic change to a remote-only sales team. Some of the biggest challenges that they're having is measuring performance of their sales teams beyond just revenue. So what the teams are doing, how many calls they're making, meetings they're having, all that type of stuff. They're also struggling with ramping new sales reps, because sales reps are not sitting beside each other and on the sales floor, kind of learning from each other, learning each other's kind of style and pitch and all that type of stuff. So this is something that has come up again and again. I've got a customer example I'm going to go into right now, but there should be a few things that we need to chat about when it comes to systems alignment if you are deciding to go remote or being forced to have your sales team go remote. So you need to have a CRM for the activity and pipeline management. I think that having business information systems in place as well to make decisions on monitoring performance, stuff like that. I think having a one-stop shop for like a library of sales procedures for salespeople, so they can work independently, that they don't have to be pinging either sales enablement or their manager for every little thing. And we also want to make sure that there's a collaborative space for sales initiatives and teamwork. So something like some sort of projects tool that's either baked into a CRM or integrated with the CRM. I just think that these are some of the system alignments that you'll need if you're going to have a successful strategy change into the remote sales team. I think this has really been driving the success of HubSpot in the last 6 months or so, or last year or so, where we've seen our actual sales focused software revenue go through the roof, because a lot of these companies out there are forced to go remote.
Yep.
One of the customers examples, and after this, I'm going to go jump into a quick video of how we kind of treat this, kind of a taster video within HubSpot. But before we go in there, me and Diogo had been working with a US-based tech firm, so a software company that had all of its operations in one office, so about 300, 400 people in one office. And then overnight, they were forced to go to multiple time zones, distributed sales team. They also had the burden of multiple apps. So they had like something like a Zendesk, Salesforce, Marketo style setup, and none of these apps were really talking to each other. There was a few kind of Zapier integrations and stuff like that, but it really was a mess, and they were struggling with reporting and figuring out exactly what was happening with their funnel. So some of the alignment stuff that we did with this particular customer is that we set them up with what we call it HubSpot Growth Suite. So that's Sales Hub, Marketing Hub, and Service Hub with a 360-degree view of the customer. So if you look at the customer portal or the customer card within HubSpot, all of their marketing interactions, all their sales interactions and service interactions are in one place, and we can really dig into reporting because of that.
And sorry to cut you there, but I think there is another thing that I think is so important when we speak about having we call it hubs with HubSpot, but when we have the 3 units of the CRM strategy actually living on the same platform, is and with the specific example of HubSpot, is that you give any of the teams from marketing, from sales or service a full picture or a full set of information to act on. Like, for instance, so many times we hear customers saying, oh, I'm on the service side, but then it's very hard to see which are the products my customer has bought. When was the last time someone reached out to this customer? Is he satisfied? Is he not satisfied? And what usually happens and this is a very common scenario, like you would have customers that run a CRM with Salesforce. Then they have, for instance, a very common scenario we've been seeing a lot is customers using Marketing Hub, for instance, on HubSpot. And then they hand over the leads for an external CRM like Salesforce. And then they have a third platform like Zendesk, Freshdesk, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's nothing about the software on a third platform. What happens is this is already a silo, even though there are built integrations, and you see these plug and play integrations that exist between 2 platforms, but they move information. They are not real integrations. So the information that you're moving from one system to the other is very restricted. And usually the integration lays down on synchronizing accounts or contacts, and then you push information to the other side without giving what's usually important, that are the interactions, the transactions, whatever that resonates to your business, available to the 3 teams. And I think this is one of the things I like more about HubSpot, is that you can like, when you have customers with the 3 hubs, this is an amazing tool that having all that information available for all the teams it's unbelievable, you know.
And just to maybe demonstrate that, I do have a quick video of just kind of a sneak peek of how HubSpot is helping those distributed teams.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to play that, guys. So that's the customer alignment one, generating leads. This one here. Okay, guys. So I'm just going to kick onto this. I'm going to mute my mic here, and then hopefully you guys get a little look inside of HubSpot with the view of showing you guys how to manage a distributed sales team, if that's going to be a strategic change that you guys are making in the near future because of the COVID pandemic and the changes that have happened to industry since then. So let's have a look-see here. So the 2 areas I'm going to talk about today from a management point of view are 1, reporting, and 2, sales coaching, sales management on an individual level and on a team level. So as you can see, the interface here, we are in a dashboard based on sales. The great thing about HubSpot and making the process as easy as possible, from going from a sales room where all of your salespeople are sitting together, you might have a whiteboard with your forecasts on it. You might have a screen that everyone can see and buy into. Now, because we're going to be distributed, we're going to have a kind of a more robust bird's eye view. But the good thing to remember here is that HubSpot gives you a lot of these reports out of the box. Once everything is set up for your team, we'll be able to track the KPIs that make sense for you, whether that's closing the amount of revenue versus the goal. You're able to see how much activity that your salespeople are performing, and also stuff like deals that are closed, lost, all that good stuff. Whatever you guys need to know about your sales process, what's happening kind of in real time, you'll be able to do that through the reporting here. You'll also be able to email this on a recurring basis to decision makers, sales directors, whatever, to make sure that everything is on the up and up and everyone has visibility of what's happening from in the distributed sales team. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go into the analytics reports here, analytics up here. I've gone to sales analytics, and what we've done here at HubSpot from a sales analytics point of view is this is really like the sales coaching console. So you'll be able to really drill down into the activities of a sales team, of individual reps. So we can group this by rep, we can do it by team, region, whatever you like, the activities that they've done, the pipeline they've built. We can dig into a historical view, take a snapshot of how they were performing last month versus this month. So when you guys are doing sales leadership one-on-ones with your sales team, you'll know exactly all of the places where they should be looking to improve, and also all of the places where they're really thriving. So I would say the sales analytics tool is more of a sales coaching tool. You can save all of these individual reports that drill down into individuals' performances on a dashboard for that individual, and say, okay, every week we're going to have a Zoom meeting, we're going to have a Google Hangout, and we're going to go through your numbers to make sure that everything is on forecast. Also, quota attainment, all that good stuff can be dug into here in a very simple way. No more building complex reports. We'll be able to dig into individual contributors' forecasts straight away and show how they are tracking towards their goal. So this is just a sneak peek into HubSpot and how that will help you align your new strategy of going completely remote with your sales team. And if you'd like to hang out in the portal and have a chat about how we can do this for your company, we'll be around later on. All right, thanks.
Your colleague Luke was very impressive. You're muted.
Do you know what? It was weird to have two of my floating heads on the screen at one stage. So I don't know if I enjoy that. Okay.
I was a bit dizzy.
yeah. Okay. So the idea there, guys, was just to give you a sneak peek about how to actually manage a distributed team within HubSpot. So everything is to a certain extent set up for you to do that. We didn't dig into stuff like pipeline management. We didn't dig into how leads are distributed in an automatic way from the marketing team and all that type of stuff, because we didn't really have time. But I just wanted to give you a flavor of what that looks like from a HubSpot point of view. Okay, so after that kind of managing the sales team, I'm going to kick it over to Diogo today to have a chat about lead generation and how this kind of comes into the strategy as well.
Yeah, and it's like we can't forget the COVID, the situation, the pandemic. I see it as a catalyst, forced a massive digital shift. It's like we were all forced to do. Hopefully, we will be out of this soon. But now the question that everyone is probably asking is, are we going back to where we used to be before COVID? So I have a very strong opinion that we want. I think what, at least for when you work on sales on this industry for many years, you end up becoming an evangelist rather than a salesperson, because you're always trying to push and pitch to customers what you see by reading, by trends, by data. That is a shift on consumer behavior, on customer behavior. And I think what COVID made happen is that it forced everyone to have these experiences. So now all of our customers got used to buy online. Even my parents, like I love to use them as an example because they are from a different generation, an older generation. They were actually tech. Like they manage technology quite well, but what happened during COVID is they were forced to use online shopping, even though in the beginning probably they asked me for my help, but they stopped asking, so that's good. So they continue to operate through all those digital channels. So what means is that their behavior as consumer changed. Now the question is, are they enjoying? They love it because they actually said, Jesus, this is what you were always saying, Diogo, like we should buy online and we should do this stuff. And now I don't want to come back. And this is the thing. I think most of these behaviors that were forced by the COVID moved people. Like if we didn't have COVID, probably would have taken 4 or 5 years for this shift of behaviors to happen, but we got it really fast. And now hardly things will go back to normal in terms of behaviors. And I think this is the challenge that any business will have to face. For some businesses will be an opportunity, for some businesses is a threat, for some businesses unfortunately they already had to close their businesses and they couldn't do much. But the thing is, we need to understand that now there is a shift, and consumers will be more digital and they will want to use more digital. Means that every single organization has to review their customer behaviors. So for instance, when you do customer journeys or customer service blueprints, you start to understand that the touch points that were used by our customers to make a decision, they were changing, but now they changed even more when they are doing an acquisition of a product or a service. Now they changed, and if we start to look at those touch points, now the majority of them probably are digital, and even with the situation of the pandemic disappearing, companies will few of the industries will have their physical touch points available, but probably the customers will be happy to keep using as much as they can the digital ones. So it's imperative that companies do this kind of touch point analysis through the customer journey to understand where they were and where they are, and they will see there is a big shift, and so that will impact the way we do campaigns, the way where we put our money for marketing campaigns. This was a discussion that used to be held a lot about if the media on television versus digital or versus the traditional media channels. Like that was we were watching a shift to digital. Now, like if we see the news, is we see lots of media companies suffering. I heard here in Ireland, Hair decided to shut down a sports channel because Amazon is becoming very strong on that area. So there is lots of shifts that are affecting the media, the consumer behaviors, and again, the companies need to realign and refocus to see where their customers are now, so their marketing campaigns and their marketing budgets are focused in the right directions, right?
I think so. Yeah. I think that this is something that we've been we were talking about evangelizing. HubSpot was the inbound marketing company for the first 10 years of our business, and we were talking about that buyer's journey is now like, so there's so much like the interactions that you have with your customer at the sales end of things, at the point of sale, is just the tip of the iceberg. They've been looking at your product online, looking at well, maybe not so much blogs anymore, but looking at reviews, looking at all of these kind of feedback points before they even get to you. So one of my friends was working in traditional media as a salesperson. He was selling like billboards, selling like advertising in men's toilets and stuff like that. You know, real classy stuff that he was selling, but that was effective at the time. But he was talking to me and he was saying that all the conversations that he's having now, one are kind of crisis meetings with customers because they think that nobody is out in public anymore, so they're not seeing these ads, right? And then two, his customers want to know the touch points of, how is this effective? What's the data behind this? With systems like HubSpot, if you've got a new strategy of lead generation where you want to know and identify exactly what weight to give different touch points, you're going to need a system like HubSpot to capture all that. So if you've been spending X amount of your budget on those kind of ambient marketing points, maybe doubling down on a digital strategy where you can measure the outputs will give you the data that you need when you're making the next decision for your marketing campaigns. So a very topical one here, Diogo, something that me and you have been solving for our customers the last 6 months or so, quite a lot when we're working on deals together. So very topical.
So, and that leads to the. Can you just go back, because there's one thing.
One more.
Probably help you. No. It's because it's just related to monitoring what we are doing, and I think that's like no one knows what's the correct sauce or the correct strategy to be successful. Like you need to measure to correct it and to improve. So there is one analytic tool that HubSpot has that is, for me, makes lots of sense. And when we start to look at this digital reality, is that the influence of a customer behavior is, as Luke said, a mixture of different things. It's a mixture of content on the website, of a campaign, of a sales meeting, of a sales call, of an email. So HubSpot has one very cool feature that I always show customers, that is, when you go to a customer, you understand what was the weight of each touch point that you're managing in order to move them where they are at the moment. So imagine if I go to a customer that I close the deal with, I can understand all his journey with Provident, from the campaigns that Daniela organizes, ad campaigns, email marketing, webinars. So we understand where people are spending time. Even some are in early stages of their decision cycle, so this process can take ages. But some are very close to this process, but you can see where they are spending the time. So when you close a deal, you actually do a weighting of what was influential. I know this is very controversial and will raise lots of discussions, but at least it's a great point to start, to have a breakdown and understand that the majority of the customers that I'm winning, they have been influenced by campaign X, Y, and Z, or channel X, Y, and Z, because that's the type of ammo, of information and data that makes systems supporting marketeers in making their decisions correctly.
Absolutely. I was just thinking about that this morning. I was listening to the radio and I listened to some advertising. I'm like, I'm not sure they know if this is working or not. You know, how would you, hope hope it goes up? But I'm sure, like, it's part of the branding, all that type of stuff. But I've got another sneak peek into lead generation. HubSpot does a huge amount of work of perfecting this. We really are the go-to guys when it comes to marketing automation in the kind of SME market. But I just want to give you guys a sneak peek in here. So this is the other Luke with the big head here. Hey guys, Luke here. I hope that you're enjoying the webinar. I've got 2 minutes to show you around some of the alignment features that we can use within HubSpot for lead generation. So let's have a quick peek. The first place I'd like to stop here is the lead generation dashboard that you can build within HubSpot. This is a great way for your sales team and your marketing team to be aligned. The sales team can see exactly what marketing are up to, all the good work that marketing are doing from a social point of view, from contacts by channel. Basically, I'm going to interrupt Luke here for a quick second, and there's something that
so rude, Luke.
Yeah, it was something that Luke should have really pointed out here when it comes to dashboards and alignment and stuff like that. A lot of the time when we're working with marketing teams and sales teams and selling them sales and marketing software, we would like to come up with a SLA between the two. So a lot of the time, traditionally speaking, marketing teams have clashed with sales teams, because sales teams say there isn't enough leads, and then marketing will say that sales aren't following up on the leads as much as they should. They aren't getting the touch points in, all that type of stuff. So with HubSpot, because everyone's working in the same system, you can have an SLA set up here to say, okay, these are the amount of leads that have been sent over. This is the average amount of time before sales reach out to them, and then we can manage that going forward. I just thought that was a point that Luke kind of skipped over and didn't really go into it. Okay,
we need to have a serious conversation.
Any KPI that the marketing team want to track when it comes to lead generation, we can track right here. So that's from the tracking point of view. But what about the actual lead generation, demand generation elements as well. HubSpot have you covered there. In marketing, we've got all of these features here that I'll go through. Advertising is something that's been front and center for marketing forever, but in the post-COVID times where everyone's just on their phone or just on their laptop at home, this is a great way to reach people. With HubSpot, you'll be able to create ad campaigns on LinkedIn, Facebook, any of the social platforms that you want to set up your ad campaigns based on customer lists or lookalike lists. You can actually build those within HubSpot as well and analyze the results, the return on investment, all that good stuff. What we can do with HubSpot as well, from an ads point of view, we can actually go ahead and analyze multiple channels in one ROI figure, which is difficult to do when you are building advertising campaigns across different platforms. We've got our SEO tools to make sure that you are doing everything that is possible to drive traffic to your website. So HubSpot will give you the recommendations you need to update different pages, all that good stuff. We can dig into that afterwards if you guys like. When it comes to landing pages, you can build those within HubSpot in a very point and click way, very simple. When it comes to calls to action, you can have these calls to action within emails, within landing pages on your website, and then those can run to forms that are smart forms as well. So we can build a progressive profile over a period of time on those leads that you guys are generating. We've got campaigns to bulk together all different marketing assets, from blog posts, social posts, email campaigns under one campaign. One campaign project, and then we can. That's right, I forgot the word project there. But one other thing is, just to tie this together with what Diogo was talking about there, having multiple assets in one campaign can be very important as well. We're talking about alignment, so you can say we've got a call to action that we're sending out in an email campaign. We've got our ads, we've got our landing page, we've got a webinar. All of these kind of touch points can be tagged with one campaign. So we can say, okay, every customer that we won that came from this campaign, this is how much money we've spent on the campaign in total, and this is the kind of outcome that we got. So it really ties all that together as well. Build tasks around that as well to make sure that everyone is aligned on what's happening with that campaign. So if marketing want to make sure that sales are working with marketing to drive registrations for a webinar, for example, to do some lead gen there, they'll have tasks they can set up and assign to salespeople within the same system. The last thing for lead generation here would be our social platform as well. So all of your audience published posts, all of the demand and clicks that are coming from your social strategy, and also posting directly through HubSpot. So you can set up your Facebooks, your Instagrams, LinkedIn posts over the month or whatever in one go, and then you can generate leads through that way. So the most important thing here, I know the theme is alignment. So aligning the strategy for net new business will have an element of lead generation for sure. Now that lead generation is going to be almost 100% online because everybody is working from home, etc. I think this is a great example of that. I said this was going to be 2 minutes and it's almost 4 minutes, so I'll leave it there. Any questions, let us know. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Look, you need to tell your friend, Luke, that
you need to. I know I'm a talker. But yeah, so the point there was that we've got everything we need to manage the lead generation point of view, and if the strategic change that the companies are going through includes that online lead generation, HubSpot have you covered from every angle imaginable. So something to think about. And when the time comes when we can all go back to running live events where people come and check into an event that you're running, HubSpot have a different strategy that we can use to use HubSpot for that, but we'll keep it digital today for the purposes of this presentation. Diogo, strategy 3, customer service. We're going completely online.
Yeah. I'm a strong believer of this shift on customer behavior, and if it happens from from a decision making, from an acquisition, or when they are doing the purchase of whatever product or service. If these behaviors change, I think from customer support they changed even more dramatically. I think if we look at the three pillars of any industry in the world, I think one of the most digitized ones already was the service, because it's a high volume business, and it's where companies usually try to become more efficient, so they can have customer service agents serving more customers in a better way and in a more efficient way. So there was already a shift happening on this direction, but I think was being pushed by the companies more than being demanded by the customers. Okay.
One question just before you go on, just out of interest for the people listening as well. So you've been working with CRMs for like 20 years or something. When you talk to customers, from your point of view, are they talking about how to manage existing customers with their CRM quite a lot, or is it mostly to win new business? What's the if you're asking me a historical question, we have to go back. Yeah.
I think, I remember one of my first projects I did in my life on CRM was with a mobile virtual operator in Portugal, and the focus was customer service, and because again, I think the other steps of the journey would happen on physical touch points as that were set up by those large organizations. So I think most of the companies started to look at the customer service as first of all, because I think most of the companies would look at supporting customers something they have to do early. They kind of started to shift that to a state that they know that they need to do this well in order to avoid churn or to increase the customer loyalty. So there was a shift on the behavior of the customers from a service perspective. Okay. But I think now the customers are demanding the change, and I think we all had an experience during COVID of trying to reach out by phone, like your ISP, because your internet wasn't fast, and surely what you experienced was a huge frustration because everyone was on the phone. Yeah. And then if you would go to their website, to the chat channel, you would be in 5 minutes with an agent. Okay, and I think this is also comes from the organizations to try to shift you to more efficient communication channels. But to be honest, in my opinion, I much prefer if the customers give me the companies that I use for my day-to-day lives, if they would give me communication channels that they don't need to be necessarily live or online, like a WhatsApp that is an asynchronous conversation where you can keep a conversation going on without needing to be happening all at the same time. I think that's where most of the businesses are going to text, audio, and no telephone. And I think the telephone is expensive for the companies. Yeah. It's frustrating as an experience for the end users. So I think there's lots of things happening. Customer service will also have will suffer these changes on behaviors of customers that will force these multi-touch points communication. That is always a challenge. You can start a complaint with one channel and then you follow up with the other. Yeah. So the consistency. So and then you have to explain again. Oh, my problem is, I already explained before. But the thing is, this is because information lies in these large organizations in different systems, because each interaction channel uses their own system. Okay? Yeah. And this is what we speak about, the beauty of having a HubSpot here, is because this multi-channel touch point communication is all centralized in a single platform. and in a customer profile. And I think, for instance, that's a great value again for companies. So the strategy here again is get more use of digital touch points. Try to understand what your customers actually prefer, because they will have a say here, and then try to align the systems to what their customers are demanding. Right?
It's really interesting when we Service Hub, the service element of HubSpot came out about 3 years ago or so, and I remember when we started to talk to customers about managing their existing customers or managing tickets as they come in from the website or whatever, we developed a like a chat bot that works on a workflow, so you can kind of design the journey for customers given the whatever choices that they make. And when I spoke to customers, I was showing them this very much point and click, saying this is going to solve your problem. But the pushback that I got from them was that they wanted to have a little bit of both. They wanted to have that human touch as well as the automation stuff as well, because at the end of the day, you have to be able to escalate it to a human maybe to fix a problem if it's big. So what HubSpot does is that it gives you the option for the self-serve, which I prefer personally. I don't really want to talk to people most of the time if I can not be on hold, So it's a very interesting one. I think given the like you said, everyone's online. So this time last year, everyone's calling their holiday provider, trying to get their money back, waiting for months and months and months. Ryanair still haven't given us anything back, but hopefully one day we'll be able to do that. I wanted to give the guys, I know we've got 10 minutes left, so I wanted to give the guys a little bit of a sneak peek into aligning teams around customer service. Hey guys, Luke here. I wanted to have a quick chat to you guys about alignment when it comes to customer service. So the strategy here might be that we want to make sure that we have a 360 degree view of the customer and make sure that they are being served well by marketing, by sales, and from service. So we're going to talk a little bit about those alignment tools within HubSpot today. First off, again, reporting is going to be really important. With Service Hub, you'll be able to report on tickets that are being closed, where the tickets are coming from. Are they coming from chat? Are they coming from email? What's the average ticket response time? Time to close? All of these metrics that we can start to track within HubSpot. So anything from a KPI point of view, we'll be able to track here for service. Another thing that we'll be able to track is the NPS, so the Net Promoter Score. So the strategy, or one of the KPIs for your customer satisfaction strategy could be an ever-increasing NPS to a certain level, and we'll be able to break that down in the reporting here. I'm going to talk a little bit about how we're actually going to send those or get that feedback into the system, and we can trigger that in different ways. Tickets will be something that we can open in different ways. We can open them manually. We can also open them via a support email, via chat on the website, via Facebook chat, whatever way that your customers want to contact you, or you want your customers to contact you, you'll be able to set that up within HubSpot. One of the alignment features that we have here is that HubSpot is one system for marketing, sales, and service. So say if I'm a service person and there's a customer who's not happy, I would be able to write a note. Say I can create note here and mention I mentioned one of the salespeople to say this customer needs a call back, etc. And then you'll be able to save that note. So you can actually communicate and leave that note on the ticket. That will also be left on the account. So if I go to companies and I go into just a random company here that the salespeople will be working with, that ticket should appear on the right-hand side of the company here. Again, we're getting great alignment between sales and service, and also a 360 degree view of what's happening with this particular company. And so these are the tickets here. So say if I'm a salesperson, I want to reach out to charge B, but I see that there's 3 or 4 open tickets. Maybe that's not the best time to reach out to those guys until those outstanding issues are kind of fixed. So again, some alignment there. That's great. Chat flows is another way that we can really align our different teams within HubSpot. So if somebody comes to the website and they want to either set up a ticket or talk to sales or find out more about pricing or whatever, we'll be able to route them to the right people to make sure that they get served as quickly as possible. All of this is customizable. You'll be able to set if-then conditions, so you can really build out exactly what the chat flow should be there. When it comes to surveys, what we can do within HubSpot is we can align the service team with the sales team, for example, by sending out feedback surveys after either a ticket closes or on a quarterly basis. We can send out NPS surveys, and if the feedback is negative, we can then trigger automations based on the back of that to make sure that everyone is aligned and everyone has taken action to make sure that this customer is being served. So if I go to automations, and if a customer survey comes back and they say that they've been unhappy with either the product, the sale, the service, or whatever, automatically we can set up an email to either reach out to the customer and see if we can fix what's the problem is, or send an internal email to sales to say customer not happy to the contact owner so they can follow up. So all of these little bits and pieces really come together with the 360-degree view of the customer within HubSpot, aligning all those teams and all those the overall strategy of the business to produce as happy customers as possible. All right, thanks.
Yeah, look, and this is a great example of having the three hubs. You see, like the CSAT, the NPS, that information is information that is relevant.
Sorry, Diogo, is that a fire that you need to put out? What's going on there? It's all good? Give me a thumbs up if you're not in trouble.
I'm okay. I'm alive.
Okay.
I need to jump through the window.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, cool. So just to kind of conclude here, strategic changes usually means that there should be system changes to support those. There's huge opportunities to create alignment by using reasonably priced tools, not just HubSpot, but there's a lot of tools out there that can even tie into HubSpot that we didn't go into today, obviously. But HubSpot can't solve all of the alignment issues, but it can be a great base to work off, like we described in both the slides and the videos. Because of the advancement of technology, strategic change is easier than ever. So if you guys wanted to go from a strategy of billboard marketing to digital marketing, there's systems in place and expertise that you can buy, like the guys at Provident, to set you guys up as quickly as possible. So I think the takeaway from today is that although there's lots of challenges, lots of changes, I think that this is an exciting time for business, especially those that can pivot early and deliver kind of those online experiences for their customers. What do you think, Diogo?
I think also we learned that 2 minutes for Luke means 5.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to not nail down. It's a big program, or big platform to nail down.
I think our strategy to have a Q&A, like it's like the fire ad in the kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think it's like to kind of wrap up. I don't know if we will have if anyone wants to place a question, feel free. But like, if it doesn't happen, I think we have the 5 minutes to kind of wrap up. I think for me, the conclusion, I'm a strong supporter of think first, do after, and make the software work for you, not the way around. Because again, I think that's the most important part of having an alignment between strategy and systems. And as we've seen that very important statistic of the 44% of projects that fail. And I genuinely tell you that I've seen this happening with softwares that we also implement, and we have happy customers and we see furious customers. And it's very easy to blame the software when most of the time the problem is in the company, in the business, in the process, in the culture, in the vision. So that's the component that we need to be challenging. And sometimes when even when we are doing this type of projects, customers are happy to pay software. And I'm trying to sell my business here, but like customers are usually very happy to pay for software, but then they don't want to pay for this work. That for me, it's way more important than having just the software, because again, it's for the reason we've been talking. If you like, it's like having a car and you don't know how to drive, and then you crash it on the first turn, and then you can be stubborn and say that the problem was the car, is not the fact that I don't know how to drive, you know. And then I think there are lots of similarities with these strategy alignment and systems.
And it's something that the alignment has to be across these days. Things have to be these strategic changes really have to have buy-in from all different teams if you're going to implement a software strategy that's going to be serving everybody.
Correct.
In a previous life, I used to sell a payment software in Canada, and we were trying to be the Stripe of Canada, but then Stripe became the Stripe of Canada and Stripe, of everywhere. But we would sell these packages to CEOs, CFOs, and then the end users would never hear about that change that's happening, and we didn't have the implementation set up to execute on that. So months would go by with the adoption would be almost zero, and then it's like you said, it's a car crash. So at the beginning, like you said, I think thinking through if you're going to make a strategic change, think about all the parts of the business that's going to affect, and then build systems to make sure that that supports you. So if anybody has any questions, they can actually email us afterwards. I'm sure that we can book some time if you want to have a chat. But I think I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. And like I said, we'll be in touch afterwards. We'll send you the recording, all that good stuff.
Yeah, and in the name of Provident, thank you, Luke. Thank you, Daniela, for organizing these. And, hope to have you present in a future webinar.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it again next quarter. Let's maybe earlier in the quarter we'll pick a new topic. Okay. All right. Talk soon, guys. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.